Have you ever imagined how different your life would be if sound was not a part of it? Would you be able to live in a world where there was nothing but silence? Close your eyes and think back to the childhood memories you have and visualize those memories without sound. No sounds from jumping in a pool on a hot summer day. No sounds from your siblings playing right next to you. No sounds from the radio or TV, just all day long, silence. For many, this is a reality that is faced daily. Cochlear implants have given many the opportunities to experience a life that they would have never had without them. In the USA, 35.5 thousand people have cochlear implants, with 21.7 thousand of those being adults and 17.8 thousand of those being children. Cochlear implants is something that is very near and dear to my heart. I have a personal relationship with them. My daughter has had 2 cochlear implants done in her 7 years of life. They have given my daughter the chance to experience life in a way that she would have never been able to without them. Today I'm going to be speaking to you about cochlear implants. I will be touching on 3 key points. What are cochlear implants and how they work, qualifications for cochlear implants, and what the future holds for cochlear implants. Now that you know what I will be speaking about, let's begin with what are cochlear implants and how they work. A cochlear implant is a small, complex electronic device that can help provide a sense of sound to a person who is profoundly deaf and severely hard of hearing. The implant consists of an external portion that sits behind the ear and a second portion that is surgically placed underneath the skin. The device contains a microphone that picks up sounds from the environment, a speech processor that selects and organizes the sounds picked up by the microphone, a transmitter and receiver stimulator, which receives sounds from the speech processor and converts the sounds into electric impulses, and an electrode array that collects the impulses and sends them to different regions of the auditory nerve within the ear. Cochlear implants do not restore normal hearing. Instead, it gives a deaf individual useful representation of sound within their surroundings and helps them to understand speech. Unlike hearing aids, which amplify sound so that they may be detected by damaged ears, cochlear implants bypass the damaged portions of the ears and directly stimulate the auditory nerve. Hearing through a cochlear implant is much different than a person who is able to hear normally. It takes individuals time to get used to hearing with them. With my daughter, she received her first cochlear at 18 months old and then received her second implant at 4 years old. For each surgery, to place the internal portion of the device, it was approximately a 3-hour procedure. It was a month after the surgery that the external portion of the implant was turned on for the first time. There's something about seeing your child's reaction of hearing your voice for the first time. Although it was a blessing for her to be able to hear, it began new challenges for my husband and I. It was a daily battle with her to put on the devices and wear them throughout the day. Not being able to hear for nearly 2 years, it was scary for her. She would refuse to put on the implants in the morning, and when she did put them on, she complained about it being too loud. If they fell off during the day while she was playing, she did not stop to pick them up. If the batteries are dead or part of the device was not working properly, we were unaware because she did not know how to tell us. We would have to check the devices weekly to make sure everything was working properly so she was able to hear. Through all the battles of getting her to wear the implants and my husband and I learning the devices ourselves, she now depends on the devices every day to be able to hear. Many children in the United States have benefited from the surgical procedure and are now able to hear. This was not an easy road. We simply did not go to the doctor and they say your child is deaf and needs the surgery. It was many months of trials and eliminations for her to get approved for the surgery. That brings me to my next point. What are the qualifications for an individual to receive a cochlear implant surgery? Having been given such a devastating diagnosis, one would think you would be scheduled for this surgery as soon as possible, but that simply was not the case. The number of hoops required to get approved for the surgery is astonishing. Not only are there requirements to get approved for the surgery, you must also go through the pros and cons of the surgery on an emotional level. For my daughter, in our experience, it seemed like a drawn-out process. First, we had to go through extensive hearing tests at Children's Hospital to declare that she was deaf. Following the hearing test, we had to set up appointments with an audiologist for more testing that consisted of a soundproof room. Once that was confirmed, that she was bilaterally, profoundly deaf, we began the process with our insurance company to see what they would cover for the surgery. In our case, our insurance required that my daughter wear hearing aids for 6 months to see if it would allow her to hear. As I mentioned above, hearing aids only amplify sounds for damaged ears, so unfortunately this did not help with my daughter's hearing loss. After 6 months of trial with the hearing aids, our audiologist referred us for a consult with the surgeon. He spoke to us about the results the audiologist sent over to him. Once again, we are informed that my daughter was profoundly deaf in both ears and she would benefit from this surgery. The surgeon had his office staff to send over the information to our insurance company for approval. It was another month or so before we were finally approved for the surgery and an appointment could be made for the surgery. By this time, my daughter was 18 months old. Most children that receive cochlear implants are between the ages of 2 and 6. Referring back to my chart, you can see the number of children that are candidates for cochlear implant surgery. Cochlear implantation, along with extensive post-implantation therapy, can help children acquire speech, language, and social skills. Children benefit from the surgery more at these ages due to the exposure of sound they receive when learning speech and social skills are most critical. Not only do children benefit from this surgery, but adults can as well. Adults that lose their hearing later in life tend to benefit from the cochlear implant surgery. They are able to take the sounds provided from the speech processor and associate it with the sounds that they are familiar with and remember. This allows the recipients to understand speech exclusively by the sound they hear with the implant and without depending on visual cues such as sign language. Whether you are a child or an adult, the advancements made in the past, present, and what will be done in the future opens doors for those who have had this surgery and who will have the surgery. This brings me to my final point that I want to speak to you about today. What does the future hold for cochlear implants? The NIDCD is continuously working towards advancing the benefits of the cochlear implants. For example, the NIDCD is currently exploring ways to convey the sounds of speech more clearly to recipients. Referring back to my chart, as of today, within our surrounding states, Texas is the leading state with the number of cochlear implant surgeries. I can only hope as research advances that my daughter will be able to hear as well as understand the sounds that I'm able to hear. In conclusion, I hope I have helped make clear of what cochlear implants are and how they work, how an individual qualifies for a cochlear implant, and what the future holds for recipients. I encourage each of you, as you leave today, to try and be more aware of those who have gone through the challenges of receiving a cochlear implant, and hope that this has helped you understand more what these individuals have endured.